Stop going to Regieleki. Hi guys, today's video is going to be a guide on what to do at the 7-minute mark on Fey of Skyrunes. Enjoy. Today's video is going to be one I've been talking about doing for a while now, and it's going to be about what to do in solo queue at the 7-minute mark on Fey of Skyrunes. The new map has massively changed both the player's impression and the actual dynamic of what to do in the early game. On Remote Stadium, everyone would go to the bot objective down here, which was Dreadnought. Instead, I find on Fey of Skyrunes, the majority of my teammates at the 7-minute mark go upstairs instead to the top objective, which is now the Regieleki, previously the Rotom. In this video, I'm going to tell you why I believe that is grief and what you should be doing instead. In simple terms, the answer is a lot more complicated than it used to be. I'm going to go through it now in more detail. Okay, so think back to Remote Stadium. You play through the early game, you know, first bees, second bees. Maybe you're ahead, maybe you're significantly ahead, maybe you're even, maybe you're behind, maybe you're significantly behind, okay? In all those situations, in 90% of cases, the bottom objective was the better objective. Why was this? Because if you're ahead, you get the XP from this objective, and the enemy team doesn't get the XP. And if you're behind, the Dread XP was so large that you were now even. So it would immediately catch you up. And usually, because you're fighting the enemy team at this objective, you get some kills as well. You're now ahead, even if you were behind. The thing is that when you were really behind, right, you would go to Dread, and you would arrive, and they'd be strong, and you would try and flip this. And if you got the last hit, you would be equal, even if you wiped. And maybe the worst thing that would happen is you'd lose your bot point. But if you did it properly, you could steal it and protect your bot point. Now, if the other team gets it, fine, then you just progress the game and then you try for second Dread, right? This is different on Fey of Skyrunes. If you try to flip this objective, let's think about it from the same situations of being significantly ahead, equal, behind, or significantly behind. Now, if you're ahead and you flip this objective, okay, maybe you win it. Maybe there's like, you know, some kills either way, whatever. And then you break this. You try to push this in. Unless you're significantly ahead, you're probably not going to be able to push this into here. Going for this tier 2 is probably going to be a mistake. They can probably catch this. So unless you're significantly ahead, I don't think you can probably get it into this tier 2. If you're significantly ahead, you can probably break this tier 2 with it. Now let's say you're behind. You go here. Best case scenario, you get the Eleki. However, they just catch it here because they're ahead. And maybe you have some deaths. Now let's say you're significantly behind. The last of our cases. Well, I guess I haven't talked about even either, but even is just like, you do it, hope you get some kills, and maybe you get it into this one, which is actually pretty good. Now, you're significantly behind. You go to this objective as 5. You're like, ooh, we're going to win the Eleki. You get wiped. You get no XP during this time. They break your point early, and now because they're significantly ahead, this goes into your tier 2. This is now broken. And they take this, they go bot lane, they take this, they take all the farming bots, and they break your bot point. That's what happens if you go to this significantly behind and you don't steal it. This is why all-in in Regieleki is much worse than all-in in Dreadnought was at the 7-minute mark. So, simply, it is much lower value and extremely higher risk to contest a Regieleki when you were behind than it was to contest Dreadnought. The new value play, if enemy team plays Eleki, is to go bottom, come down here, get this, score, maybe break, and then go top and defend your tier 2 if they go for that. That is the new value play. It is largely due to people mass contesting a Lackey from a losable position that we have seen a large increase in blowouts. Blowouts being games which are like completely one-sided by the 5-minute mark on Fair Sky Ruins compared to Remote Stadium. Now, this is just in my experience. I don't know if like this is universal, but this is the experience I have and the experience that I've been told by my chat. Anyway, so now I'm going to quickly go through the case for playing bot lane versus top lane at the 7-minute mark. So, the benefits of the bottom lane, which is this. Simply, first, there is more farm in the bot lane. This is more than this. Even if it's closer than it used to be, this is still more than this. It's point number 1. Point number 2. Killing this still gives you global XP. Now, it's not as much as Dreadnought. Killing this Reggie now gives roughly an Ndidi, one of these over here, worth of global XP. Which is still, like, you know, there's 5 Ndidis. That's a whole rotation of these. So, it's still a decent chunk of XP. Second, if you break this, and they break this, you spawn 2 Ndidis, they spawn 3 Ndidis. 2 is less than 3. So that's good. Now, this is like thing points now, like advantages in the future. If you break this point and they break this point, any further fights at this objective, which becomes more valuable later in the game, at the bottom Reggies, are favorable for you because they don't have a point. Now, sometimes in solo queue, these tier 1s die for free, which maybe makes this point a bit mute, but you get the idea. My next point, benefit of bot lane. It's hard to get value out of this objective, the top lane objective, once this is broken. Once the tier 1 is gone, it's hard to get value out of Regieleki. Why is this? Because a very easy way to get value out of Regieleki, if I can just do this quickly, is to push it into tier 1 when it's above 20 and get a large overcap. Large. That's how I spell large in Paint. Once this is gone, this is broken, and you have to push it here, it is very easy to catch this objective as long as you're not fucked. If you're fucked, they can push it in and break. But you're fucked anyway, right? Like, you're already getting fucked. They push in and break your tier 2, okay, whatever, right? But in even game states, it is extremely hard to push it into this because of how strong tier 2 points are. So that's another point for bot lane. It's hard to get value out of the second Aleki once tier 1 is gone. And then the final point for bot lane is a very simple point that I made earlier. If you get this value and they break this and try to get a lot of value at the top and push it into tier 2, you can get this value bot lane and then defend top T2. And then they've basically got 0 objective top and spawned you more DDs than you spawn them. And now this objective is harder for them to get value out of in the future. Okay, those are the benefits of bot lane. The downsides of bot lane. It's harder to contest future Alekis. Now, maybe you don't want them to get every single one of these. It's harder to do it once you lose this top point. That's a significant disadvantage of playing bot lane. And the other disadvantage is there is a case where this goes into your tier 2 because they get like a good team fight or they're like marginally ahead, they have more unites or whatever, and that is bad. If they break this, it is bad. That's your other downside of bot lane. Those are your downsides. Now, let's talk about the benefits of top lane. So this is top lane. Future Lakis are easy to play for, basically the reverse of the downside. If this T1 is above 20, you can get a large over. This is actually my favorite play with a Laki, and it's one people don't do enough. You want to keep this point greater than, let me do, like this, 20. Because then you can walk this in and get like a 39 over which is good. That's another benefit of top lane. And then if large lead, you can force this in, break tier 2, and maybe force a 5-minute FF. This is with solo queue in mind. All these points are with solo queue in mind, guys. And then the disadvantages of top lane, I've just said see benefits of bot lane. Right, you can scroll back in the video if you can't remember them. Okay, simple summary of these, what I've mentioned here. Top lane is high risk. High risk, sometimes good reward, rarely jackpot, which is putting it in here, sometimes negative value. The negative value being, you walk this into this point is like at like 18. I don't know why I keep trying to draw numbers. 18. This point. You get 2 overcap, and now they have 3 DDs for the rest of the game, and you're fucking tilted. The complexity... Now, one thing I will say is what I think you should do. And the answer to what I think you should do is it's complicated. It's complicated, so keep it simple. Okay? I'm going to give you a quick spiel now. The complexity of the objectives currently makes giving a simple answer on what to do at 7 minutes tricky. However, 5-man in any objective and sacking the other lane is always hard losing if the other team plays properly. So think of it this way. If you go 5 top for a Lackey and you win it, even if you win it, right? And they have 4 top. No, let's go back here. Let's say you go 5 top and they go 4 top. Best case scenario, you're flipping this, and you might even lose it. While they have one person down here, farming all of this, scoring, maybe does this, becoming level fucking a billion. Right? That's what happens if you go 5 to 4. Similar scenarios if you go 4 to 3. It's still a flip top. 2 people bot versus 1. Maybe they kill this guy, maybe they score, maybe they do bot rahi, da da da. You get the idea, right? I said 5-man objectives, so let's say you go 5 bots, and then they go 4 bots. It's the same again, it's a flip. They have good defense, they have like their top laner who can like, say this is a Garchomp. This is my Garchomp drawing. He bites everything. Rah, 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 rah. Breaks this, pushes this into tier 2, gets this, runs away. So yeah, 5-man objectives, bad. I just deleted my 7. Whatever, the 7 can go away. You can imagine the 7 in the top left corner. Okay, so next point. Do not give up if your team doesn't get this lucky. I've seen this a lot in solo queue. People just start spamming in thanks. Gather here. Check it out. FF. Like, guys, can you actually evaluate what the Alaki does? A lot of times, the other team gets his Alaki, they break this, we catch it here. The Alaki dies for free. It doesn't do anything. They get 0 value out of the time they spent doing this objective. But people are just tilted that the other team got it. You have to evaluate whether contesting this is a smart play. If there is 5 people up here, and you're fucking 4 people bot lane, and you're the jungler top lane, let's say you're level 10, and you walk in when a Lucky is half health and die, you just gave them a lot of XP for free. Evaluate the advantages you're getting in the bot lane for giving this up. And then sometimes maybe it'll walk into your tier 2 and it's bad, but whatever. Like, those are the breaks. Overall, I'll say people need to play in a smarter way on this map. This map is better than Remote Stadium, in my opinion. They're making more changes to it in a future patch to change in Ray. Maybe my opinion will change, but at the moment, this map is a lot better than Rayquaza. However, people's lack of understanding is making it very annoying. 5-man in this objective is not good. Now, the final part of this video, what I'm going to hit you with, is what I do at 7-minute marks in solo queue. These are the majority of the strategies I used to carry when I did the Spragle Solo Queue Nuzlocke, in which I came second. In this Nuzlocke, I lost my support, my defender, and my flex roll really quick. So these are primarily with carries. And I'll go over the rotations I did. If I am the jungler, this is me, I am jungler. And I am far ahead. And top is below 40. I will try to break this if top's below 40 and push this into tier 2 and get a cap. That's if I'm very far ahead. Like, I'm like level 10 and the other jungler's level 8 or something. And I've been ramming all their lanes, so all their lanes are small. Maybe they have a Bulbasaur. If I am jungler and I have a small lead, I will either try to put this into tier 1 when it's at like 21 or something, and then get a 39 over or something close. Or what I will do is I will play bot lane and try and break this, get this value, take this, and maybe the other team will get this lucky and push it into here and break this. I don't care. They've spawned these for me. I got all this XP bot lane. My team should be ahead as long as we played smart. The only downside to these strategies is your team getting tilted, but your team just needs to understand more, which is what this video is for. If I'm jungler and I am behind, I will either try to find picks, like maybe I'll go here and unite somebody to kill them, or I'll go bot lane and do the same thing as when I had a small lead. As a laner, I generally go when my team is weakest. Now, if everyone does this, it doesn't work, right? But this is how I approach the way my team approaches the game. If my team goes 4 top, I like to think, okay, the enemy team's probably going to go 5 top, and I'll create the situation where I'll be the one bot, and I'll get all this and become Thanos by being really fed. Same again, if my team goes 4 bot, and the enemy team is playing wherever, I'll go 1 top, and if they take this, I'll try and get this farm and this farm. Maybe I'll have a look at this Aleki, but most likely what I'll do is, if there's a lot of people top, I'll stand here, let it walk into my tier 1, let them break, and then quickly collect these. Or I'll try and make the Aleki walk into my tier 1, if they try and break it first. These are the plays you can do. If you act in this way, where you make sure your team isn't off balance, like you always have some presence of a part of the maps, you generally create some semblance of proper macro. Now, obviously, sometimes if you're really behind, you should 5-man things and deathball the enemy team. However, you can get punished for that. Generally, I advise a more balanced approach to the map. Okay, the main takeaway from this 18-minute video now, that I want people to get, is that you're overvaluing Regieleki. Regieleki is Rotom. Rotom was mostly dog shit. Regieleki is also mostly dog shit. The best play, most consistent play in Regieleki is the overcap on tier 1. When you put the point at 21 and then get a large overcap. However, some people can't do this because they put this point to 10 for memes. Anyway, that's going to be my rant over. Roughly 19 minutes. Pretty easy. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I'm going to try and do more educational content like this in the future. Educational rants, maybe. But yeah, it was fun. This map was made by my viewers. This is what I'll use in the future. I enjoyed it. Well, one viewer. It's a great map for me to draw on and demonstrate my points. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Peace.